Omajika, welcome again, everyone. I'm here with Emma Scrimshaw. I will pronounce that correctly. Emma is a senior advisor, benefits at Rio Tinto. Just like you've just seen a video from Medibank, from Gianni, Emma is going to be sharing with us some of the perspectives, rather, of Rio Tinto in terms of this particular project. And, I'm going to try and pick some of her brains in terms of figuring out, what the project is about, what are some of their goals and objectives. And then from there, we will proceed with questions and answers. But without further ado, Emma, the floor is yours. Please introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about who you are, what your role is at Rio Tinto, and then you can go from there. Thank you.
Thanks, Mo. Hi, everyone. My name's Emma Scrimshaw, and I'm a senior advisor in the benefits team at Rio Tinto. In the benefits team, that means I'm involved in all of the employee benefits that our workforce receives. My role includes vendor management, policy, designing, improving and rolling out of new programs, partnering with business stakeholders, training and more. Medibank's one of our key vendors, and we've been working together for over 10 years now. So not only do we work with Medibank to provide a health insurance product for our employees, we also work with them on a number of other benefit initiatives, including a program called Medical Plus. So Medical Plus is a program for our Australian-based employees where they can apply to receive a cash reimbursement for certain costs. The categories they can apply under are costs associated with a hospital admission, private hospital emergency fees, travel and accommodation costs for our for our regionally based employees, bereavement travel and funeral expenses. So as part of a recent review into the program and application process, we did come up with 3 overarching principles that we wanted to achieve as part of the new program. So we wanted the program to be inclusive, simple and sustainable. So we're wanting your help to develop an application process and form for our employees. And in that, when we were reviewing the current process and pain points, we did identify a few that I wanted to share with you today. The current process has a different application form for each category. And the reality is that sometimes the employees are applying across 2 or more categories. So what that means is that they have to fill out multiple forms for each category, which creates an administrative burden. The current process also requires printing out the form. Some of the categories also require obtaining a hard copy signature. So employees are then printing out the form, filling it in by pen, obtaining a line manager signature by pen, scanning it in, uploading it to email. So again, it's quite clunky. And for our employees that aren't as technologically savvy, it is quite complex for some of them to go through that process of uploading documents to email. So the aim is to have one form across all categories that again aligns to those 3 overarching principles. The team at Rio Tinto in the benefits team are all super excited about this initiative and working with RMIT. So you will, I think, expect to see a few of them involved throughout the process.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. I can clearly see there is a need that to perhaps find more of a creative and innovative solution to what you guys are currently going through, and the fact that the form itself, with employees have to fill up, is so cumbersome. I think it's important that when our students are looking through this challenge, that they actually come up with a creative solution that not necessarily adds further burden to employees that are not so tech savvy. So I think that's also something that's to be very conscious of. My first question to you, Emma, is around the program review, essentially. I understand you've received feedback coming through from the employees themselves. Were there any specific issues beyond the fact that it's cumbersome to include write contents or issues into these multiple forms and uploading online. Were there any other issues beyond that? Probably administrative issues, issues in perhaps even locating the right sort of claims to go for under the 5 categories?
Look, I suppose there were, but it's more than involved with the actual program itself. So it's probably going into the nitty-gritty benefit detail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
From the process perspective, I think we've covered everything.
No worries. Okay, so let me go then to the next question. This other question is around the principles of improvement. You spoke to, the 3 key principles that sort of anchor the solution, the product that you're looking for. That's got to be simple, got to be inclusive, and also finally, it's got to be sustainable. When you say inclusive, what do you mean by that? And similarly, when you say simple as well as sustainable, can you probably just define to us what you mean by these particular terminologies?
I think inclusive, the obvious example from our standpoint is probably where people are based.
I see.
We have quite a regionally based workforce that don't necessarily have access to the same medical specialists or hospitals that are readily available to those in metropolitan areas.
Yeah.
That being said, obviously, it's a broad term, so we didn't want to narrow it down too much.
I see.
From a simple perspective, very aware that we've overcomplicated things, and Rio Tinto has a tendency to do that at times. From the process and the form perspective, very much just wanting that to be in one. I think, as I said, one form with clear, simple instructions.
Right.
Sustainable, obviously, cost comes into it there, but I also think from the form perspective, longevity. So we don't know when the next large review of the program will happen. Small things, small changes may happen, and I think from that perspective, a form that can have small tweaks and changes to be made to certain wordings or adding questions, deleting questions is important, so we don't have to recreate the wheel for every minor edit that needs to be done.
Fair enough. That's quite straightforward. Thank you for defining those 3. I think they're quite straightforward, and that also gives parameters for our students to work through when they design the solutions. Amazing. You've touched on some of the challenges that your employees are facing, and in terms of what feedback they're sharing back to you. I'm just wondering, do you currently have what kind of system do you have in place at the moment that gets employees to share and provide feedback based on the systems that you're currently using? What platform do you have? Is it done through some sort of like a dedicated platform, or is it just done ad hocly on different periods of time?
It's very much ad hoc. So most of the feedback that we've received is via email.
I see.
We have a team email for the benefit team in the Asia Pacific region. So we went back through the emails that we have received over the course of the last few months, year or two, and collated those. Obviously, there are escalations that happen, as in any process where we're pulled in to sort of do a bit of investigation and look into things more closely. So there have been conversations about specific cases that we were able to leverage as well, but there's no formal review process or feedback process that employees have access to.
Fair enough. Thank you. Now, I know when I had a chat to Medibank, Medibank was quite open to get the students even to create an online platform where all that can sort of be carried out in a simple process. Would perhaps Rio Tinto be open to that kind of sort of solution? And will you also be perhaps even concerned about who manages that? Would it be you or would it be Medibank?
Very much Medibank.
Medibank, okay. Good.
So because the nature of a lot of these application forms cover people's hospital admissions and personal procedures, we're very much wanting to step away and have that maintained by Medibank.
Awesome. No worries. Okay. So I guess my final question to you, Emma, is around, the integration of technology. I'm wondering whether Rio Tinto is open to students recommending technology platforms that may not necessarily are currently being used by Rio Tinto or Rio Tinto is not familiar with. Are you open as a team to explore different technologies?
I think we very much would be. If it was a new technology, we would need to potentially involve our IS&T team just to clear the name of that particular technology with them, but certainly open to hearing what's out there and what's possible.
Awesome. Thank you. That's great. Question around, when I asked you the point of sustainability, you mentioned cost factor. I'm wondering, what does that look like currently in terms of the cost that your Rio Tinto puts into the current existing system, and whether you are looking to, because imagine if the students come up with a technology, would Rio Tinto be able to sponsor that particular initiative along with Medibank?
Good question. I don't know is the answer. So at the moment, the only cost involved from an administration perspective is really time. The applications are emailed, they're assessed by Medibank, and then they're approved. So I think it would completely depend on what cost is involved.
That is great. Thank you. That essentially brings close to this conversation. Emma, I wanted to thank you for coming in, for sharing with us, your point of view from the client point of view, Rio Tinto. I want now to thank our students for, going through both of the video parts, the Medibank as well as Rio Tinto. I wish you all the best with your assessment task and the project that you'll be undertaking in this semester. If you again have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to the course coordinator, as well as our industry partners. Emma as well as Gianni will also be available. However, we will you have to come through the course coordinators if you have any questions that you'd like to ask them. That's about it. Emma, do you want to say any last few words? Anything that you want to sort of leave to the students to sort of take away overall in terms of what your expectations are for this project?
Not necessarily expectations, but more just very excited to be involved and see what we can all come up with together. So I look forward to seeing the results.
Amazing. I love the energy. Thank you so much.